This afternoon, George Floyd will be laid to rest in a private funeral in Houston among close friends and family. George Floyd's death sparked protests around the world. One of his loves was basketball. We heard from NBA, NFL, and NASCAR drivers talking about George Floyd's life, his death, what it meant, and injustice. Joining me now is former NBA player and University of Kentucky basketball star Rex Chapman. After years in the spotlight witnessing these injustices firsthand, Rex is now speaking out about racism in America. Rex, I'm so glad you're with me. I am one of at least your Twitter biggest fans. You wrote a piece in the Lexington Herald-Leader titled Injustice, Double Standards, and Heartbreaking Bigotry. After all of these years, why are you speaking out now?
Wow, Stephanie, thanks for having me. When I was about 15 years old, I finished a basketball game, and an older gentleman, looked kind of like a guy from ZZ Top, came up to me, grabbed me by the arm, a bunch of people standing around, and he said these exact words to me. He said, "Man, I love watching you play ball. You play just like a black guy." He didn't say black guy. "You play just like a black guy, but then you still get to be white, Lucky." And it stayed with me my whole life. Not only did that happen, but, there were a lot of people around, and nobody batted an eye. And I remember thinking to myself, that's the worst thing I've ever heard anybody say, from beginning to end. In one respect, you're saying, I really envy these black athletes, but at the end of the day, you get to play ball, but you still get to be white. And I'm tired of holding this stuff back. I spent years in addiction. I was a lottery pick in the NBA, and since then I've lived in my car. And I didn't say a lot of this stuff when I was younger, I think, because I was a little concerned about how it might affect my pocketbook. I'm not concerned about that anymore. I can go back and live in my car again. I'm going to be honest about this stuff. And if fewer opportunities come my way because of speaking out for things that I know are just, then so be it.
You said that in your own life, when you were arrested, when you were behaving badly, you were treated much differently as a white guy than you would have been if you were black.
Yeah, I grew up in a town of about 50,000 in a little rural city called Owensboro. And I grew up in the suburbs or in the country. I also grew up with my friends down in the projects. And, police interact differently with white people than they do black people. That's basic. That's not even up for debate. I mean, the statistics bear it out. But I've been in cars with black friends on my way to NBA games before, high school games, been pulled over, guns are drawn. It's a way different experience than being pulled over in a car full of white people. It just is. And, I think what a lot of us have been doing for so long, we've been protecting the brand, the white brand. And we have a lot of ugliness that goes with that. When I saw last week that the protests were going on, and one of our senators here in Kentucky, Black Lives Matter protests were going on. One of our senators here in Kentucky was in Washington voting down an anti-lynching legislation. And it just makes me want to cry. I'm embarrassed. I think a couple of our senators here are out of touch with the people of Kentucky and more in line with their big money donors. So I'm just sort of fed up, and I want to be here as an ally to all my friends and family over the years that I've been speaking up privately, but that time is over.
Rex, you do more than that. You might be speaking out against racism now, but every day you share hundreds, at this point, thousands of beautiful videos and messages and stories of humanity in society. So as divided and angry as we are, talk about the celebration that you see every day in spreading this kind of love.
Yeah, I think a lot of what we're seeing is just divisiveness. A lot of it's Twitter driven, which cracks me up. I know the president was saying he wanted to get off of Twitter. That's his only jam, though. Yeah, I think a lot of us are being divided by social media and what we see and hear. I think people, if they read more, found reputable sources to read, we'd probably be in a little bit better space. Our leadership is really lacking. And I want to say one thing here real quick, Steph, if you don't mind. I spent about 15 years in drug addiction from painkillers. We had a senator here in my home state. He was elected my junior year in high school, 35 years ago. I was 16. And we didn't have an opioid epidemic then, and nor was this man a rich man at the time. Fast forward about 15 years, and it's 2000, and I became addicted to OxyContin. This senator has accepted more money from Big Pharma than any politician in American history. He's failed to hold Purdue Pharma or Big Pharma accountable for anything in Congress. And I just got to say, not only that, this epidemic has come into this state and it's wrecking the state. I've managed to make it through, but a lot of people don't. And what I do know is that this senator's been here when the epidemic came in, and he's done nothing for Kentuckians. I know medical marijuana works, and that he's deprived this state of having any chance of coming back and getting out of rehab and finding something that might help. It's just sort of criminal to me. And okay, if we don't want to allow medical marijuana here, fine. Let's take care of our farmers, grow the marijuana, sell it to the other states. What, we don't like money? I'm just sort of fed up, biting my tongue.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.